I believe they manipulated the heavyweight division. Two white men could fight. Ain't nobody talking about that. It was the first time in 100 years. They just ignored that history. First, they manipulated it. They didn't want till it's dead. That's what Wilder saying. Till it's dead. They didn't want two black men to fight for the undisputed title. So they act like AJ was scared. They act like Wilder was a bitch. They said all this other shit. But the reality is they manipulated everything. And even when the boys hurt the man, they already had a plan. Two white men to fight for the undisputed.
So they manipulated the heavyweight division to stop Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua from fighting each other so that two white men could fight each other. So then you would have a white champion or undisputed champion. And let me counterpunch. Do you guys see how flawed that is? For one, I'm going to tell you a lot of reasons. Let me break them down to you, okay? Because I actually just got lunch. And the crazy thing is, when he says they, who is he referring to? Is he referring to Eddie Hearn? I mean, he has to be referring to Eddie Hearn if he wants to make it a race issue. Because if he wants to race bait, it has to be Eddie Hearn. But he didn't say that. You know, so who did it have anything to do with? Deontay Wilder was with Al Heyman. I mean, you could say Shelly Finkel. He could say that Shelly Finkel was behind on it. That's the only way it would make sense if we're trying to give his argument any type of energy, okay? Which is hard to do that because Al Heyman was the one that refused that deal. He didn't want the $100 million for Deontay Wilder. He didn't want the anything that dealt with Wilder taking any type of set money or flat rate, okay? And Wilder wanted to fight supposedly, but his handlers wanted more money for him. And he had Al Heyman, he had Shelly Finkel, he had JD's. So them wanting that to happen, like the way he figures it, is false because the guy that has the dominant black, quote unquote, management was Deontay Wilder. And Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua are like this. So you can stop that way because if that was the case, Eddie wouldn't have got those fights that he got with whoever anyway. You know what I mean? Like for him saying all this and that, man, it makes no sense to me. Because Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, they've been, getting championship belts for a long time. If it was meant for those guys with that type of power and that type of pull to only see that and only be in that position, AJ would have never became champion for as long as he did. Deontay Wilder wouldn't have been champion as long as he was. That's just absolute bullshit. In fact, Alexander Usyk wasn't even in the picture at the time those negotiations were coming in, especially coming into the heavyweight division. Usyk was still at cruiserweight. People didn't even know what his intentions were then. It was Deontay Wilder that allowed Tyson Fury back into the game, back into the sport of boxing. Okay, he told him that, hey, I was the one that got you back into big time boxing. So how is it that it was somebody else's job to do that? If it would have been planned like that man said on the Boxing Voice, the host or the caller that called in, it would have been someone else mysteriously bringing Tyson Fury back, but that wasn't the case. Okay, that wasn't the case at all. And Deontay Wilder did not have to allow that to happen. He chose to fight Tyson Fury because he wanted to. Why? Because I think he was ducking AJ because he wanted to beat Tyson Fury to get a better amount of money fighting AJ, because I think that was the whole deal with with Deontay Wilder. He wanted to whoop Tyson Fury so he can claim to be the lineal champion. Therefore, then he could go back to AJ or his team and say, look what I did, something you never could do. I knocked out the Gypsy King. So me and you got to square up for undisputed once and for all. That's what I think it was. It was nothing like they said it was. It's the stupidest thing I heard all year. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.